With that, we're going to move on to our next speaker for the afternoon. Anjali, if you could take it away.
Sure, thank you. So thank you, Annabelle. I'm feeling very relaxed. When we first started, my mind was wandering. I was wandering over to Alana's drink that we're going to have later. But thank you so much. That was great. My name is Anjali Dilawri. I'm a partner at Logan Katz, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about staying financially resilient during these times. These are challenging times for all of us, but especially so for small business owners. Entrepreneurs are a lonely group at that, and during these times it can be even more, feel even more isolating. So I think one of the main messages I want to impart on you under the caption of staying financially resilient is that there is a lot of support out there. There are a lot of resources, and you're not alone. So consider using the support that's there. In terms of support, the financial support that's out there, primarily the government programs, there's a number of government programs that could be of use to small business owners. The programs fall into broad categories. The largest program is the wage subsidy, the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. It's often called CEWS or CEWS. This program provides a subsidy of 75% of your wage costs, up to a limit. There's a limit of $847 per employee per week. The caveat is you do need to meet a revenue decline threshold test. And that is you're looking at your revenues for the month of March, comparing them to the month of March in 2019 or to an average of January, February revenues in 2020. And if you experience a decline of 15%, then you would qualify for the month of March. Same thing for the month of April, and the same thing for the month of May. Obviously, with the 10 minutes I have, I can't go into the details. The months are specific claim periods, and a lot of that information, I can refer you to our Logan Katz COVID Information Hub. This is a great place to get a good overview of all the programs that are in there, and then to get into detail about programs that are, more specific details to see if you really apply or are eligible. So I encourage you to go there in terms of, but I wanted to just say enough so that it tweaks on you as to whether you might be eligible. So the CEWS or CEWS program is the biggest program, and it subsidizes essentially your wage costs. There's another smaller program for wage costs, and that's called the temporary wage subsidy. That doesn't have a threshold of revenue. It doesn't have a test like that. Essentially what that does, it allows you to get back 10% of your gross wages for the similar periods. So keep that in mind as well. It's a much smaller program, 10% versus 75% subsidized, but it doesn't have a revenue threshold. So if you don't meet the revenue threshold for some reason, try that program. Those two are the wage subsidy programs. The other program that I wanted to just talk very briefly about is the access to credit, the Canada Emergency Business Account. There's also a loan guarantee programs, but the Canada Emergency Business Account, essentially what that does is it would give you an interest-free loan for 2 years of $40,000, 25% of which is forgivable. So essentially $10,000 is free money. You get to keep that. As long as you repay the loan within due time. And if you after the 2 years, you can convert that loan to a 3-year term loan with interest at 5%. So the qualification for this loan, and one that has put some people offside up until recently, was that you needed salary costs greater than $20,000, from $20,000 to $1.5 million. And that worked really well for some businesses that met that threshold, but there were a lot of smaller businesses that didn't, or businesses that might have contractors, no employees, so you don't have payroll costs, so you wouldn't meet the threshold of $20,000 in payroll costs. This week, the government announced that tomorrow they will open up the application for those that have less than 20,000 in payroll costs. They can apply for this program. They only have to have, though, what they call non-deferrable expenses in 2020 of 40,000 or more. And there will be a two-step application process to that. So again, I encourage you to visit the hub. I encourage you to visit the CRA or the Government Canada website to find out more if you think these programs could be of benefit to you. There are also loan guarantee programs, which are worked at directly through your financial institution as well, if you don't qualify for the CEBA program. The other programs I'll just touch on briefly are the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, which is basically a benefit of $500 a week, $2,000 a month. That's recently been extended as well, and that has is an option for the smaller business owners that really don't have any other option with respect to the CEWS program or the CEBA program. That can be a way to go as well. There's also a rent assistance program, although with this program you are at the sort of at the mercy of your landlord. This is a program that's applied for through landlords, and there's criteria there as well for who would be considered an eligible landlord and who would be considered an eligible tenant for these programs. And essentially what this program ends up doing is allowing the rent cost to be split 50% funded by the government, 25% by the landlord, and the tenant would be left with paying the remaining 25%. Again, this is something that your landlord would have to apply on your behalf, and you would have to demonstrate a 70% reduction in revenues in order to qualify for this. So a little more stringent, and I'm not seeing it used as much, unfortunately. There are also filing and payment deadline extensions. The big one is that your personal and corporate taxes for the year are now due only September 1st, by September 1st. So that helps business owners with cash flow and so forth. Other support programs under the umbrella of there's support out there. There are programs that are non-government programs. The Facebook Canada program just closed on June 7th, but that was a great program that provided grants, and it was providing grants. Local businesses were eligible, and there's other programs like that. So I encourage you to stay connected with your community, with your business community, in order to make sure that you are kept aware of what could be out there that might help you. And lastly, not under the umbrella of programs, but just in general, there are other things you can do to help your cash flow requirements during these times. Extension of payment terms with lenders. You can talk to your creditors for extensions. Acceleration of payment terms with your customers. If your landlord is not applying for the rent assistance, perhaps just deferring payments to the future. Even things like that. So there are negotiations you can do with your existing relationships and to try to help ease cash flow. With respect to non-financial support, there's so many community organizations, and I really encourage you to lean on them. There's Invest Ottawa, Women's Business Network. There are Ladies Who Lunch. There's the Ottawa Board of Trade. I can go on. There are a lot of resources available. Get connected. This is the time to get connected. This is the time where we need to come together most as a business community. And there are amazing resources. What I'm finding is that business women are connecting and finding new ways to even work together, new business models, new ways to complement each other's offerings. And it's coming out, it's becoming sort of coming up with some very unique product and service offerings to the business community. In terms of being an accountant, I'm always going to say, make sure anything that you do, you try to, in terms of your business, try to map it out in numbers, cash flow projections, forecasts. As you think about repivoting your business, for rethinking your business model, which many business owners are now forced to do. Think about how your customer has changed in the new normal, how your products can adapt, how you can solve that delivery dilemma, which is the main one of the main things that is stopping business owners from functioning is how do I get my product or service to the client when we're in isolation times. I do believe, and maybe I'm being too optimistic, but times like these are ripe for opportunities and new ideas and a great time to think out of the box. So, you know, I do encourage you to do that. How do you manage efficiencies? If your product offering, you looked at your customers and your product offering and really there isn't a lot you can change, can you be leaner? Can you reduce your hours to improve your labor costs or lower your labor costs? Can you reduce your product offering just to focus on those that have higher margins and things like that? So look at your numbers, and when you are thinking of new ideas, map those numbers out and make sure they make financial sense as well. I think I'll stop there, and I think at this point the floor, I think, is opening up to questions if there are.
That's right. Yes. Thank you very much, Anjali. That was a lot to unpack, and we do already have some questions. So one of our attendees has asked, one of our attendees says that their business pays dividends to the two owners. Is there a program suitable for COVID-related losses for this kind of small business structure? So I guess it's not an employment, it's the just dividends.
Yeah, and this has been one of the areas that has received a lot of feedback. The government has received a lot of feedback, is that businesses who remunerated based on a dividend strategy are really being left out. And the government has promised to continue looking at this. Right now, the CEWS program is a wage program, so you would not be able to take advantage of that if you had no wages or salaries. The temporary wage subsidy, you can take advantage of that as long as you had a payroll account. So again, you don't necessarily have to have payroll costs, but you have to have a payroll account, and it's based on payroll costs. So that you're kind of out of luck as well, unless you have other employees. I'm not sure of all of the situations. If it's dividend only, the wage subsidy programs don't help you. The CEBA, the Canada Emergency Business Account, does help you. If you can, you won't meet the threshold for payroll, but now that they have a new stream, which is, again, like I said, opening on Friday, you don't need to meet that payroll threshold anymore. You're under the 20,000 payroll stream. It's called the non-deferrable expense stream. But you do need to have greater than 40,000 of non-deferrable expenses. So as long as you do, that's a program you should look into. And again, that's brand new. It's only, the applications are only opening up tomorrow. Short of that, rent assistance does not have a payroll component, so that could be an option for you. And the Canada Emergency Response Benefit would probably likely, in a lot of my owner-manager clients who are on dividends, that's all they're actually able to get right now is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit.
Thank you very much, Anjali. We're going to move on to our next speaker now.